Welcome to the Golf Parent.
What you say?
I'm kind of curious. Will Zalatoris and that's kind of when you started and you came up with the system. I'm kind of curious. Do you remember that moment when you were working with Will and you're just like, wait a second, there's maybe something's not right here. I think I got an idea. Like what was that genesis moment for you?
It's really interesting because Will I've known since he was like 8 or 9 when he moved to Dallas. But the interesting part about it is I started an electricity company when I quit playing professional golf in 2002. And his dad, when they got transferred from his dad got transferred from San Francisco to Dallas, he was coming to be the asset manager of the Galleria Mall, which I sold electricity to. And so he called me in, hey, I'm the new asset manager, and I go in there and like I'm getting fired. I mean, I've got my own guys and we're going to switch things up here. And I come walking in and I've got on a Bent Tree Country Club logo shirt. And he's like, "Are you a member of Bent Tree?" And I'm like, "I'm the club champion. Like, I may as well try." And he's like, "Oh wow, I've got a 9-year-old son that just you won't believe he swings so good. He's just a great little player." And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure." And I swear to God, his swing looked identical at 9 as it does today. It was just a lot smaller little person. And so I really did. I had Corn Ferry status when he was probably, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, something like that. And so, I'm out there playing. And again, I'm like 36 or 7 at the time. And I'm out there playing, full time professional golf. And he's the little kid tagging along with me. So, he's just the kid that I just kind of played golf with because he was out there every day. And it really was cool because he qualified for the US Junior 12, 13, and 14 and, did well just getting in the thing, but he was always really frustrated like with his results. And so I was trying to teach him course management and mindset and stuff, but it was honestly just kind of my opinion at that point. And then once the strokes gain statistics started coming out, it was when I created air quotes decade. So the aha moment was literally whenever I finally did that. But I had a cortisone shot in my right elbow the 2 weeks before the Texas Amateur in 2014, and that didn't go well. The guy paralyzed my arm for a couple of days. Obviously, it came back, yay.
Yeah.
But I called Will and I'm like, dude, let me explain to you what I've been working on here. Like I had told him what I was working on, but let me really explain it to you. And then if you want, I'll caddy for you, in 2 weeks. And he was like, absolutely, of course. And in the first round, he hit every single shot exactly where I told him to, which was never the flag. And he shot like 67 and had the lead in the first round. But I saw driving home after that round, I was like, I'm pretty sure that kid would have shot lower if I wasn't there because he hit every single shot exactly where I told him to. Now, what I will say in hindsight, especially with my understanding of the distance control portion of it, while yes, directionally it was where I told him to, I highly doubt it was actually pinned high every single time. So he might have missed a few more greens long and short or whatever. So I actually, in hindsight, don't think he would have shot lower. But the second round, he came out and he was nervous. It was his first time leading any sort of a real golf tournament, more than a high school golf tournament. And he was freaking out and he shot 70. And driving home that day, I was like, that kid would have shot 78 for sure if I wasn't there. And so that was the aha moment of this is something. And it's crazy. Steve Jobs says you can only connect the dots looking backwards. And it really is amazing how many, if I took a left turn here instead of a right turn in life, just binary decisions like just completely change your life. And, at the time when the guy paralyzed my arm, I was so mad because I was like, I've been working on this project for 6 months and I can't believe I don't get to use it. There's no doubt in my mind through 6 holes, if I were playing, I would have thought this is so stupid and literally thrown it in the trash and just not thought twice about it and not known what I missed out on. Because I will say with all due arrogance, I do agree with you that this has completely changed the game. Somebody would have come along eventually and done something, I think. But everyone's so focused with the strokes gain statistics on stats and how can we improve. And I think it's my background as a failed playing professional, basically, that was like, man, I traveled with Chad Campbell and Chris Riley in my 20s on the Hooters tour and, two future Ryder Cup or PGA Tour winning guys. And I was just always like, I feel like I'm as good as these dudes. And while I won a couple times, I was never anywhere close to the results they were having. And I just couldn't figure out what it possibly was. And it never dawned on me. They just understood how to play the game more just by having a ton more experience. I didn't really specialize in golf until I got to college. And so really it is that looking back and connecting the dots, that aha moment is Will shooting a round of golf that there's no way it should have been that number whatsoever. And then coupled with my own failings as a player that just really, I think allows me to see the game differently than even, the former playing professionals, former PGA Tour winner, announcers that I have to argue with all the time. They've got all this bias. Well, this is how I did it. And it's like, maybe you did it that way, but you probably don't even actually know what you did. And so using data to just illuminate, there's no doubt in my mind there are kids in high school that understand the game better than quite a few of the PGA Tour winning announcers on TV do. I mean, there's just no doubt
I
in my
love
mind
it.
about that now.
I love the hot take. Okay, so let's give the listeners then some examples. So, like, what are maybe 3 examples that are just either counterintuitive or complete myths that just through the data and through your experience were just proving completely false?
That's a perfect question because I literally just for fun I posted on Instagram. Here's hot takes. If you don't leave any putts short, you suck at putting, and if you've actually eliminated one side of the golf course, you suck at golf. Those are the 2 biggest incorrect ideas. Never up, never in. You have you have a shot pattern in golf like with your 7-iron that looks like a shotgun blast. But you also have one with your putter. And now it's not really circular or an oval, it's your directional control. I don't care how good or bad you are at golf or putting, your directional control is always better than your distance control. So it really starts to become like more like a rectangle, to be perfectly honest. Of we leave from 20 feet. If we're trying to roll it to a 20-foot spot, we might have a 5-foot window of potential speed outcomes. And so where Pell said, you want to be hitting every putt 17 inches past the hole, that's correct, I guess, if you can control your speed to the inch, which I still would argue would be more like 7 or 8 inches. But, he was only optimizing for make rates. And so what we're really optimizing for in golf is strokes to hole out rates. And then the other one, again, would just be the idea of eliminating one side of the course. If you really dig into what most great players like a David Duval, when they say I've eliminated the left side of the course, what they're really saying is I've eliminated the double cross. And the double cross is by far the biggest killer in golf. It makes shot patterns exponentially bigger. It's just death. Every time that you are trying to hit a draw and you hit a fade, you have started it right and you've hit a block cut when you were intending on it turning left. And that's why I argue so heavily for, especially with the driver, shaping it one direction, because once you're good at doing that, you really do eliminate like the vast majority of your outlier shots. If the ball's curving the direction you intended it to, you have a huge margin of error to work with.